All right, so GoPro finally hooked us up with a camera that us FPV pilots would appreciate. They definitely hit the mark on the weight reduction and the quality, considering it's a stripped down GoPro Hero 10. Maybe they didn't hit the size, you know, the form factor, all that kind of stuff that we want, like a session, but it's definitely a good step forward. We'll talk about it a little bit more on the channel. I'm Chad, this is the Dorky and 40 RC channel, and let's talk about some quads here today. So I've been flying the bones pretty much all weekend, ended up getting mine Friday, and there's so much stuff that I love about it. There's a couple things that I don't like about it. Right off the bat, one big thing that I don't like about it for everybody is that the power connector is kind of hard to source. I haven't looked recently online, but maybe somebody has sourced one by now. It's a JST PH with a 1.5 pitch, which is a weird connector. So you can see what I've done is just soldered mine up to a 6S connector here. Now I do plan on using this on my FPV 4-ride, and you know, I'm going to have to figure out a way to either make some bullets or source or get another one of these connectors so that way I can wire up a 3S version. Real simple, just plug it right into the balance port and you're good. The big problem is though, is that when you crash, boom, it comes forward, and if you tie this down a little bit, it comes unplugged, which is kind of a bad thing. I've lost a lot of footage already just because of that happening, but no big deal. So it all does work, of course, with these like 3D printed mounts that you can use. You can use 3D printed mounts, or you can use, you know, the regular GoPro mounts, whatever you want to do. And, you know, they're pretty tight, they're firm, they're going to keep their place and everything else like that. But it is something to consider that you're going to have to pick some of those up. Now, I did place an order with Brain 3D so that way I could get a little bit more protection. I really don't think this thing's going to break and bust and everything else. But, you know, between that and some ND filters over the front or some kind of protector, just kind of limit things a little bit right there. So I don't miss the screen or nothing like that at all. It's real simple with just the 2 buttons there in the back. You just like press start and you're ready to go. Now, when they say bones, the bare bones definitely includes like the packaging. This thing comes in just a regular black box with like an instruction pamphlet, the little connector here to connect it to their mounts, and also a sheet with a piece of paper that you'll need that has a QR code on it, and you're going to scan that, and that is what is going to turn this thing into like a binding mode and allow you to actually start setting it up and connect it with the quick app on your phone. So I got a free subscription to Real Steady 2. Haven't really got into playing around with that yet. Really never did a lot with Real Steady anyway. I don't share a lot of footage here. I don't really get to capture a lot of cool footage, but you know, I plan on it. I mean, we've got Bones adapters now pretty much for every quad, except for the 4-ride. That's going to be coming from Brain FPV. So the big thing to talk about this thing is that how cool everything is with the weight reduction. You know, you've been doing this like I have for 7-8 years. And, you know, back in the day with the sessions and stuff, we were really starting to like hit that edge with like high performance. But now we've got just so much better motors and technology and software, control link, all that stuff to really take advantage of that weight. And like Steele and Bob Ruge and a lot of other people have always commented that, you know, the best flying freestyle quad is somewhere between like 620 and 650 grams. Really important thing here, people talk about the price, $399 and stuff like that. And the way that this thing just unlocks the performance of your quads and gets the weight down, those are 30 by 30 stacks that I have in there, older F4 stuff and everything like that. So with the chip shortages and everything else, you're kind of able to offset that cost, I think, by using some of your older gear. Yeah, you might not be running at the fastest PID loop and everything, but you're going to gain so much performance just because you're throwing around a properly weighted quad. A lot of you guys probably have only been doing this a year or two, and you're just used to flying like binding flies that weigh 750, 800 grams. And, you know, that's fine. Enjoy the hobby however you want to. But if you really want that maximum performance, and I really think that this is the key, that 630, 640 gram mark that they established years ago, and it's pretty much impossible to get to right now, no matter what you do. I mean, geez, I've like shortened standoffs. I've used shorter screws. I mean, I've done everything to my quads to get them down. And as low as I could get, like my lightest weight analog bills was like around 680, 685. So having this and that 60, 65 grams right off the top is just amazing. And it's been hard to get there unless you want to make concessions with like a naked GoPro or RunCam 5, something like that. I've never been happy with the image quality on those knockoff ones, and I've never attempted to make a naked GoPro, just didn't think it was worth it for my needs. So it's great to have this. I'll show you some weights on some quads, but even on my heaviest quad, the 533 Freestyle Footy, that thing is down to 650. Everything else, Source 1 DJI build, 630 grams, Apex 1 watt HD0 build, 640 grams, and those are with like 11 or 1250 6S batteries and this. So everything is just flying amazing. I've had to like really adjust my PIDs, playing with the Betaflight 4.3 presets, lower my throttle scaling down a little bit just to compensate for that weight, because we're talking like a 10% weight reduction here. So it's a really big deal, and it really unlocks the performance of the actual quads. The other thing I wanted to talk about is just how they moved this connector over here kind of into the center. So you can see now that the GoPro is in like a perfect alignment with the quad. It's not kind of like offset like it typically was before when you use any of their other GoPros. So that's a nice thing, and you kind of counterbalance the weight on this side with the thumb screw, and I have ordered a couple of the smaller thumb screws from Brain 3D. So just something to think about, you know, if you guys want to get the more maximum performance out of everything to save a couple more grams and everything else, or make up for the weight difference of adding some TPU around this thing. So now we'll just hit the scales real quick and show you guys what is going on with that. So let's talk about that awesome weight that we were talking about. So if we take my lightest right now 5-inch quad freestyle system and we start weighing everything up, we'll show you what we got here. So with the battery, the GoPro mount, the GoPro, everything ready to fly, we are at 689 grams, maybe add a gram for the screws. So as you can see right away, we are like 40 grams over, maybe even more, that like perfect flying rate that everybody established years ago. So now let's see what we get when we go with the bones. So we're going to get rid of this GoPro. We're going to get rid of this mount. And with the battery and everything, you can see we are at 541. And literally all we're going to do is we're going to add the bones. And then we're going to add the 3D printed mount and the GoPro screw holder. 623 grams. Now that is just amazing. I never thought that I would get close. I don't think this quad was even that light when we ran a session. So let's take a look at some other quads like an Apex build. Impulse RC Apex with a 30x30 stack in there, 1 watt HD0 VTX and the micro V2 camera. So a little beefy, but you can see that it's coming in at 738 grams. So we'll go ahead and strip everything down and we'll see what we're going to be looking at here with the bones. So we're at 587, add about 62 grams for my bones and the thumb screw, and you're going to be looking at 650 grams. So the Apex is a little bit higher, about 17 grams more than both of my 5-inch Source 1s. One of those is a DJI build and one is an analog build. So there you go. It's just a quick review coming from a guy like me, guys. Like, I love it. I was excited to hear about it and I went for it immediately. It really makes a difference because of the weight savings and everything else. So I really hope that this kind of helped you guys out. And if you got any questions, give me a shout. Talk to you later. Peace.